one of the things that the Jamstack did right was like, okay, it's the community.
This is What the Jam, an interview series where we're finding out what's next for Jamstack. Find out more at thefutureofjamstack.org. All right, today I'm joined by Ana Rossetto, who is the head of business development at Marzi, a digital agency specializing in Jamstack. So excited to have her today. Welcome.
Thank you, Mike. It's so nice to be here. I'm thrilled with the invitation. I hope I'm able to contribute to this discussion, and it's great to be part of the Jamstack community and meet people like you and others. So, yeah, I hope I'm able to contribute and to have a nice chat about Jamstack.
I'm sure we will. It's a pleasure to have you. So let's start off with what does Jamstack mean to you, and how do you talk about it?
Right. So a bit as you said, a bit of a spoiler alert. So I'm a business developer. So I'm not going like Jamstack for me. I know that it has a technical description and a technical meaning for it. Like the term was created for a specific technical audience, of course, and I'm as a business developer, I try to look to Jamstack in a way of like how am I going to sell it, what is important for our clients that might benefit from it. So what does it mean for me? It means simplicity and faster websites and ways of doing web development that it's less costly and easy to maintain. So usually, like this is how I approach a client about it. So when a client comes, okay, I need a specific website. It's not every time that a client needs a complete content management system, a monolithic content management system like Drupal or WordPress. And when I see that, I try to explain to them, look, we can deliver this faster. You're going to have a better performance if if that matters to them. So I try to pick up on those on that simplicity that Jamstack brings. But one thing I wanted to say is that the term was created for this specific technical audience, like for developers, for engineers, as a way of encouraging people to experimenting new ways of building a website and web application. So working a bit beyond the monolithic world, like WordPress, Drupal, and so on. But when selling it, you need to go beyond, right? You need to see, okay, what is the benefit of it? And for me, it's simplicity, it's faster things shipped, and endless like integrations, and showing to them that they can still edit content. They can still serve content to different products and things like that, and they don't necessarily need a complex infrastructure and a complex monolithic. So yeah, I think Jamstack it's a bit that for me.
No, that's a good summary. Do you use the word Jamstack to a client that doesn't understand it at all, or you just talk about the benefits itself?
It depends on the client. So in the past, I think that I used more the term Jamstack, and I actually like wrote some piece of articles like to somehow educate clients and like, okay, this is Jamstack, because it's true that the name is sticky, and I think that's how this explains a bit the success it has. It's sticky, it's good, so it's easy to use it. So yeah, in some proposals I do use the term. I think I did more in the past. and not nowadays I've been more using the idea around Jamstack
Yeah.
and like the benefits of it, and not specifically mentioning it or bringing the term up.
Yeah, that makes
But of
sense.
course, it depends. If it is a technical client, because sometimes we do have those, and then definitely we do. I do mention like the term and start the conversation there.
Yeah, nice. One of the reasons, well, that Jamstack was coined in the first place was because static sites were seen as like very limited and some kind of old technology. Have you found that in your work? Like, if you mention static, clients are automatically like, "Oh, why do we want something so basic? Like, we want all the dynamic bells and whistles."
Yes. And usually it's hard to explain to a marketeer that uh, um, things can be simple and easier and can bring benefits, especially like usually what I do for a marketeer, it's like, okay, um with a static site generator like this, and like with a simple infrastructure like the Jamstack, you're probably going to have better performance, so better SEO ranking.
Yeah,
So
speaking their language.
exactly, I try to do that as much like as much as possible to of course bring the benefit of it to their eyes, and of course in the past, of course, you do have like clients saying, no, this is not enough, we need more, and of course you need to resonate and see, okay, what is the reason? Is it because we need to scale to some extent, or is it this doesn't this offer what you need? But it's true that nowadays with like the headless content management systems you have available, like you can do amazing things,
Yeah,
you can do so. I think that was probably the case in the beginning. I don't think this happens quite often nowadays. I think that of course you do explain them from to them the benefit. Like one thing we do quite often is like we have this NGO we work with, and they have constant like campaigns that they're working on, and usually like sometimes those campaigns are attached to bigger sites, and like those sites are using Drupal or WordPress, and in the beginning they were coming to us like, okay, we want to be able to build a landing page on top of Drupal but with a slightly different uh, look and feel, and this is like overkill
yeah,
to build, of course, with on top of Drupal. So we presented like one or two campaign sites using Jamstack for them, like simple static site generator, headless CMS, and nowadays like they come to us, they know, okay, we want that landing page like the other one, same stack. They are able to edit content quickly. We can develop and deliver the landing page super fast. Like the cost and timing to do that on Drupal would be 3 times or more. So we did once, they saw the benefit of it, and now we just go on top of it. So yeah, I think nowadays it, we don't have much of like people being being how can I say, pessimistic about static and so on. I
yeah,
think people understood that there's a and we usually try to show them in the beginning that look, you're going things will be simpler and faster this way.
yeah. That's awesome. Like, you're slowly, well, you're converting all these people who are just in this WordPress Drupal world and bringing them into the Jamstack world. And once they see all those benefits, like the quicker build times, the the like performance of the sites and their better SEO rankings. Like it's hard to go back after that.
Yes, and even like and then there's another specific like point to that, which is cost of
Yeah.
development, you know.
So maybe 10 years ago, I would expect a lot of clients coming to you saying like, I need WordPress, I need Drupal. Have you seen that transition over the time you've been at Marzi? That like from going from a lot of people wanting something like WordPress to either wanting more static or faster and talking about the benefits or specifically asking for Jamstack.
Yes, yes. Like you see, in the beginning when I started working, like I had to introduce quite a lot this way and this way of building websites. And now, of course, you do see more people asking for static site generators, and I'll say that like we shifted from more of like monolithic web development to this, and not just because we wanted, but also because the market was coming to us for that. But still, like there's one thing we like to do and that we always try to do in Marzi. It's like to use right tech for the job.
Yeah.
So we still work with monolithic uh, um, structured like content management systems like Drupal and WordPress, because sometimes it does make sense. Um, so so yeah, like we still have, and it's still a big part of the market that is used to or using these monolithic technologies, and we still see the benefit of using those, but it's not all the time, you know, like the way that, and I think that we can discuss this more as we go, but the way these frameworks like the static site generators, and even, and as I said, like the headless CMSs, the way it has evolved, it gives us so many options, like things we can do are amazing, and of course the more and more we are using this service oriented architecture, rather than like going for monolithic infrastructures. But yeah, outside that, we still have a lot of like Drupal and WordPress requests.
Yeah. Interesting. So what challenges do you find with like Jamstack? Like as a I guess as a term and as a community and maybe as an approach as well. What are the downsides?
uh, yeah, I mean, like I, I think the term is very specific, right? So like we're talking about JavaScript APIs markup, and in recent years there has been quite a lot of change and like evolution on the technologies that started, let's say, the Jamstack movement. So like you take for instance Next.js, like um, the things it does, it's more than just like serving front end, you know.
Yeah.
So like it evolved quite a lot. So you and the Jamstack was, I see Jamstack as a start of like a movement of like start looking into other ways of building web applications,
Yeah.
and things evolved, and I don't know if the term is going to stay and be still be relevant
Yeah.
in the future, but I think it's fine, because I think it was the initial spark of something that brought a new way of doing web development, you know. So like as you said, you have a lot of companies already, and like we do have clients coming to us with this service oriented idea of architecture, and I think that like Netlify is now using the composable term, right, instead of Jamstack, because I understand like it's not just about JavaScript API markup anymore. It evolved, but it was an important spark, and it was a term that it got really successful at a point, especially within the development developer community. And because of course you had a company behind it, or other companies behind it, you have like a supporting community around it, and the community is something that it's amazing like on Jamstack, because you have different companies that are involved in the community, not just agencies. You have people, sales companies, and they're offering their services and so on. So yeah, I think that the term was very specific. It evolved, and I think if it's fine if it's not going to keep relevant, because I think it was an important spark, an important movement that
Yeah.
changed a bit things.
No, I think you're right. Like the way I see it is the web started off all static, and then we got more and more complex tools, and then we kind of got the WordPresses and Drupals and all this ecosystem of plugins, and it got very, very complex because now you have all these bits of software that have to talk to each other, and maybe no one really understands how every piece of every single plugin works together. And then so Jamstack was like going back to simplicity. Let's make this stuff simple again and get away from the complexity. And then but then you reach the limits of but we can't do this, so let's add on this. We can't do this.
Yes.
And I feel like
Exactly.
right now we're full circle where like we're
Yes.
talking about server-side rendering. We have quite complicated like caching strategies, and I don't know, a lot of complexity that I think the pendulum's going to like switch back of like there was a simpler time. What do you think about that?
Yeah, this is why I think that like the term itself might not be as relevant as it was back then, and I
Yeah,
agree
agreed.
with you. Like it was a way of like simplifying things, and then of course we started adding on things and like evolving, of course, on that. I'm a bit like there's a few things that I think we need to have in mind here. It's that we are doing this full circle. We need to a bit don't forget what the past was, and
Yeah.
like, and that's why I think the conversations like this are important. So like look back into, okay, this monolithic infrastructures, they got complicated, they got too complex, too many things around it, too. So maybe what we can learn from that, of course. And there's another thing that the as as a business developer, and sometimes like encouraging our clients to use different services. One thing that we're always trying to be thoughtful about is you have nowadays a bunch of services, like you have a lot of content management systems available. You have like the headless ones. Uh, you have options of CDNs. So sometimes we need to be thoughtful on like, okay, is this going to last? Like because when and this is something that worries me sometimes
Yeah.
when I'm suggesting to use a service or the other. It's because, okay, Jamstack was really good, let's get things simple, and then we have quite a lot of options. But then, okay, is this is based on a company, is this going to last, which is like different, for instance, than Drupal and WordPress, where you
Yeah.
have communities around it, right? So this is something that worries me a bit, this path that we are moving, and it worries sometimes in terms of like what type of services we are going to use, and we're going to suggest to our clients. But I think this is just inevitable. So unfortunately, and I think we had to have that in mind when doing that. And there's another thing that I would add to that, is that I remember in the beginning, and a lot on the, okay, let's make things simple, and it is still the case for when things are simple. It's for instance, the cost of like maintenance and the cost of servers and CDNs with for like a simple website, it's still lower. So this is like one of the things that I was always saying in the proposals, and saying to clients, like, look, you're going to spend less in maintenance and less in monthly server costs and things like that. But and it is true still for a small project, but the nowadays, the minute you scale, things can get really expensive,
Yeah.
really expensive. And then it's no longer the case that cost is a benefit, because then going for the monolithic solutions, it's a better option, because it would be cheaper.
Yeah.
And so yeah, this is a bit like something that worries us, and like even the business model of some of those services sometimes is like costly, and as you scale, it can be super expensive. So like, for instance, we've been in more than one project, going to like DevOps options like Amazon Web Services and things like that, because you can scale and you don't have like the costs are not huge. Of course, you have costs. You it can get expensive, of course. Um, but yeah, this is also something that I think we need to have in mind. And
Yeah.
when we are suggesting things to our clients, we're also doing that.
Makes sense. Like the Amazon AWS costs, they scale somewhat linearly with the amount of traffic
Yeah,
or the amount of users they're
exactly.
getting. Whereas, yeah, some other services might just have a huge jump at some point in the scale. And
Yes.
and to your point, that it reflects on Marzi's reputation, right? Like if you tell them to use this and then suddenly it's 5 times more than they thought it would, or if
Yeah.
the service gets shut down, like yeah, it's a lot that you kind of have to to take on board and give them a good solution. Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, it's something we need to be very smart about when we're working on proposals. And of course, as I said in the beginning, we're always trying to use the best technology for the job, and like make sure that we're not over engineering. And but but we also need to have those business factors in mind, you know. So the client, usually, like in proposals, I like to already give the client an idea of like the costs
Yeah.
they would have with with running costs, with servers, with services, and yeah, this it's important to have that in mind, and it's good like when we think that the project's going to scale to a point that some of the services are going to get too expensive, we try to use something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So I want to give you one last question. What do you think about Jamstack? You've kind of answered this already, but Jamstack, the term, do you think we need to stick with Jamstack, but maybe evolve the definition to encompass more about what Jamstack is today? Do you think we just don't need a term because, to your point, it created the spark, but now it's just how web development's done now? Or do you think we need a new term?
I don't. This is a tricky question.
Yeah, it
I
is.
think this is a really tricky question. I don't know if I have like the right answer for this, or if there is a right
Yeah, I don't
answer
know
for
if there
that.
is.
I think that I mean, as I said, it was relevant, and I think we should still talk about it and like work around it, and but as I said, it's the term, it's too specific, and we evolved a bit into to that, and it's very fairly technical as well, you know. And but I think that the ideology of it will stay. So even if the term it's not used or disappears, the idea of it will be there,
Yeah,
and it still is. But at the same time, I one of the things that the Jamstack did right was like, okay, it's the community
yeah,
that started, and for that community, the term is really important, right? Um, so yeah, I would say that we still need the term to still keep pushing us. I don't know if we should revisit the meaning, or I don't know. It's a really hard question,
it is.
but yeah. But I think that the idea of it's there, and we just might need the term to keep the community going, and like don't lose this sense of community, that it's super important, and it's still what it's a big part of what makes Drupal and WordPress still be relevant nowadays. It's the community. So and if we think if we go to that direction, and I think that the term it's still needed, and we still needed to keep this going, and move on from within the community.
Nice. That's a great note to finish on. And it was great to get a business perspective on Jamstack. Thanks for joining today.
Thank you. This was lovely. And I hope to see more of these and more discussions on Jamstack.
Thanks. That's it for today's interview. Find out more at thefutureofjamstack.org.